Hey everybody, Questwise here. Today I want to talk about a Palladium Books game that I don't think gets near enough attention. It might be. There's no reason why I shouldn't get lots of attention. It's an amazing game, and that game is Splicers. Now, I will admit that Palladium has not given a lot of support to Splicers, though I have talked to a few of the guys over at Palladium, and it's something that they really is near and dear to their heart, and they are working on some stuff. How soon that will come out, I'm not really sure, but I'm excited to see what they have in mind. Maybe even a rehauling of this original book. But if you don't know what Splicers is, this is truly one of the most imaginative settings for the Palladium Books pantheon and megaverse that I've ever seen. They have the typical riffs, which is everybody is really very familiar with. And Rifts is an amazing game because, I won't go into a lot of that here. If you want to check out my review of Rifts, go back in my catalog of videos, and there's a video called "Why Rifts," and explain the whole of all of what a Rifts is there and why it's so exciting. But the reason that Splicers is so exciting to me, and why I think Splicers deserves a little bit more attention, and I think you should definitely check it out, is because the setting is very, very unique, and it's very awesome. And I find myself talking about this all the time, especially with things like today in the world where we talk about artificial intelligence, and we talk about the dangers of apocalyptic downfall and stuff. All of that's contained in Splicers. This is a post-apocalyptic role-playing game. It's written by Carmen Belair. It's in this typical format of Palladium Books. It's a soft cover, beautiful. I love the way that Palladium produces their books. And I even told this to Kevin, the owner, one time. I said, I love the fact that your books lay so well in the hand, and it just seems like to fit very, very well. And everything lays open very, very nice. And as you can see, as I flip through this, man, the artwork on this stuff is just phenomenal. So, Splicers is a game that takes place in our future, in which we've created artificial intelligence, and we did so in order to make our lives easier. But it got to the point where our lives, basically, we didn't have to do anything anymore because of the artificial intelligence. We told the artificial intelligence to do everything for us, to farm our food for us, to create things, to build buildings for us, to make life easier for us. So we didn't have to do anything. We just lived life, and we got very complacent and lazy in our lives because of this thing. The problem was that we began to feed the artificial intelligence so much information that sometimes that information sort of conflicted with itself, and the artificial intelligence didn't know what to do with it. Thus, eventually it sort of split. It sort of gained a sense of schizophrenia, and it broke into different pieces, all of their own sort of volition and their own sort of mini artificial intelligences. And at some point we decided that we didn't really know, or we didn't really pay attention to that happening, and that was sort of the beginning of the downfall. At some point we had a problem with rats. And I don't want to go, I want you to read this book, I want you to pick it up, so I'm not going to go into a lot of details, but let's just say the artificial intelligence took that as to meaning that it wanted to eradicate life, basically. And so it turned against us and began to fight against us. And one of the ways it did that was that it infected anything that's created of metal. It infected it with its nanotechnology, its nanobots, and everything that was metal rebelled against humanity. Thus, you'd be sitting at a table eating with a fork, and that fork would rebel and attack you because of the nanobots inside the metal. At some point, just before the downfall of humanity, we turned to a piece of alien artifact that had fallen to Earth, and we reverse engineered it, and we were able to create these bio life forms that began to act as weapons for us. And we began to build these giant vats that began to grow this new artificial biotechnology for us into suits of armor and into weapons and stuff made out of actual out of living materials, and sometimes we used animalistic forms in order to create these things, and we looked to other types of life forms in order to create and grow these new types of technology. And so that's the basis of Splicers, that now we're fighting back against the machine, against the artificial intelligence, and we're using an alien type of biology to as part of our warfare. Very cool games. If you're familiar with any of the other Palladium books, you'll be very, very aware of how this game works. It still uses the Palladium system that's in every other book. So it's a little bit, just because of the setting, it makes it a little bit harder to sort of integrate with some of the other settings. It's easy to do like a fantasy setting or a fantasy character into Rifts, vice versa, superheroes into Rifts and stuff like that. It's a little bit tougher only because of the theme of this game. But it is possible for things like to come from a fantasy, like Palladium fantasy or Rifts, into the world of Splicers. And then it gives you rules on how that changes and how, metal from other dimensions is affected when it comes to the Splicers Earth and stuff. So that's the only really change. But if you're familiar with any of that type of stuff, it does use the mega damage system. And it goes into great detail of how we, create this bioformed armor and weapons and stuff. So really, really great game. Like I said, I feel like it doesn't get quite enough attention, and I want to make sure that people know about this game and that they're excited about this game and they want to check this game out. As far as like price point goes, it's very typical of the Palladium pricing system. This was $23.95 when I bought it. It might be $24.95 now. It might have changed just a little bit, but I bought this a couple of years ago and stuff. But great stuff. A wealth of information in here. I wanted to show you some of the cool creatures that you can encounter. Those are all OCCs. Some really great stuff in there too. I wanted to show you some of the, some of these are as well too. These are called war mounts. So this is sort of like mimicked after a giant dragon, and you would ride one of those things and stuff. There's the gore hounds. There's the Grendel. These are all called, they're called war frames? War mounts is what they're called, yeah. I wanted to show you some, and again, I should have bookmarked this beforehand, but I'm super unprepared as always. A whole section on splicer technology here and the basics for host armors. And this is the kind of thing that these vats would grow for you. And you basically get naked and climb into these things, and they fuse with your body and become sort of a living attachment to your body as well too. And you can remove them from your body. You can climb out of the suit at will, but it sort of enhances all of your physical attributes up into this mega damage type things. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so here's some of the craziness that the artificial intelligence has created in order to fight back against us. There's a sewer prowler, skitter pods. These are like robotic rats. Sky fighters. These are like robotic aerial drones. Slicer robots. Those are very like reminiscent of like Terminator and those kind of things. And I guess that'd be kind of the kind of idea of this, basic idea, sort of platform behind what Splicers is that idea that artificial intelligence has rebelled, and that's fairly common in science fiction literature as well as games and stuff, that artificial intelligence has rebelled and has caused this apocalyptic happening. But I think Splicers gives it such a cool, unique twist that we are actually using biomechanical interpretations of different things in order to fight back against the robots, which is something that makes it different, makes it unique, and it makes it stand out above all the other sort of ideas that the robots have come back to fight kind of thing. So, if you haven't checked out Splicers already, please do. If you're already playing Splicers, let me know. I'd love to link and share some of your experiences with that on my channel, as well as my Facebook page as well too. If you haven't subscribed, please do that and stuff now. If you haven't checked out my Facebook page, please check that out as well too. And I'll put a link to all those right down below here. But that's Splicers in a nutshell. I'm Questwise. Until next time, we're out.